Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. Hold on a second. I'm still having some issues. There we go. Key light. And where's my math? No, where's my music? Did I close that? Okay. So already getting some interesting stuff here in the treasuries as I'm looking at it. Look at this. They buying this? Let's go through stuff and see where it's at. All right. Volume profile here, ZN, quite a bit of a turnaround yesterday. We're actually a little bit lower. I'm seeing like gaps in my chart, so I don't know what's going on here with the treasuries. Liquidity is a little bit lighter here today again. S&P 500, a little bit of a melt up overnight. I need to like reload my data or something because oil lower. Gold and silver kind of still where they were at. Kappa, same thing. The dollar, well, Bitcoin a little bit higher. And the dollar pushing back down towards 106. The impulse on the open there has me curious. So today in the equities, we've had this week a record put call ratio. So record put call ratio, that means that there are tons of puts that could potentially cover today, right? We're likely to have a really strong melt up move in the equities today. And the only thing that gives me pause about it is that it's like, it seems too obvious and easy, you know? So what does that mean for us in the treasuries? I don't know, but I think it could mean that we could get some wild action in the treasuries as well. And on the open there was a strong buying impulse. So saw my order there and they're like, nope, sorry, Seth. Dang. No fill. Another thing we should keep on mind is that like a mass number of Twitter employees got like locked out, and it seems to include like key infrastructure personnel and so forth. And so there's a chance here that over the weekend Twitter goes kaput. I don't think that it's actually going to happen. Usually when these sorts of things come down to the wire, they find a way. You know what I mean? There's this one lot sitting here at 3.79. Seems a little too obvious to me. Hmm. Okay, so it's going back and forth at 15 quite a bit. Yeah, as soon as you take it, look, they start moving it. We don't really have too much here for news in the US, but we do have Canadian producer price index numbers. So I'm seeing the 6J move, the dollar crashing here. Mad that I didn't get filled up here at 3.8. Okay, tweet from Jigsaw Trading. Day trader release 4014. Also, 50 coupons added. Sale ends Sunday. So let's see here for this Canadian PPI. Do they do core? Doesn't look like they do, but they're looking for a reading of spot 5 versus a previous reading of spot 1. Morning D. Morning Brad. I don't know if I said hi. Whoa, wait. Canadian PPI month over month 2 spot 4 versus an expected 0.5? That can't be right. That can't be right. We're not reacting to it at all. Am I reading this the wrong thing? I don't know. When I look at the Forex Factory one, I don't see a PPI. So maybe my financial juice is screwed up. Morning, Steven. That's IPPI. I think that they just have it wrong. IPPI, change in the price of goods sold by manufacturers. So I guess it is a PPI, industrial product price index. Was higher than expected. Ooh. ZB stepping up there all of a sudden. Didn't quite get a new high, but they did sure jump up there real quick, didn't they? Gonna have to keep a close eye on the 6J here. What do you got right now, D? I hope it's a long in the ES. I'm gonna load the overnight chart here. I don't know why it seemed like my platform just didn't want to load overnight data or something, because it just skips. Must be an issue with Rhythmic, I guess. I don't know. But all of my charts have this gap. Yeah, no, that's really weird. And I'd come in and I just tried to reset it, and like it just made the gap back where I reset it. What the F? What the F? Must be a problem with the Rhythmic. Sim Sam says the same thing, huh? It's weird. Well, it's okay. We know where we're at, so. We've done our homework. We understand how the market works, and we got our plan, and the best that we can do is just execute best we can and hope God makes up the rest. Don't need to stress about 1 minute chart overnight. You have a big gap on ES. Yeah, I have it on every instrument, so. Do they have some people speaking over the weekend? I don't, where do you see that? I don't have such a thing on my calendar. Would be so cool to see short position. What I would like to see is a feed that would show me, that would attach trader IDs to every order. That's what I'd like to see. Yeah. If I'm hitting into Goldman Sachs, that would be nice to know, you know? Bostic speech tomorrow. Oh, okay. So Collins was going to speak in 5 minutes, and her comments have been released a little bit early here. But I didn't hear anything too significant in them. So I'm wondering about Bostic, because the thing that Bostic did was basically like lay out his case for higher interest rates, and I'm wondering if that's like a trial balloon, and then like a week from now, or maybe next week, another member of the FOMC comes out and does a similar presentation giving the counter case. You know what I mean? Fed's Collins, after rate hike ends, the Fed will need to keep rates in place for some time. I hope monetary policy will not cause too much of a slowdown. I currently anticipate a slight increase in unemployment. It is likely the Fed needs to hike interest rates further. Doesn't look like anything too big. Record U.S. options trading shows jitters before $2 trillion OPEX, says Bloomberg. The 4,000 level for the S&P 500 is a battlefield full of bulls and bears. The CBOE put-call ratio for single stocks reaches a 25-year high. Am I making it too easy? It seems like the obvious call is just go long equities here. Is that... Am I being naive? Do we need to be more street smart here? It seems obvious that you just buy SPOOs. This song sounds like a what, I can't even remember his name now. Dylan Francis. This sounds like a Dylan Francis song, but it's a Stream Beats one. Welcome back. You came back after the shit show we had yesterday. You came back. I applaud you, sir. Constantine and go long if tells and short if no. You buy it and hope you got a good spot, right? I'm like part of me says you don't want to make a call like that. Like if it doesn't turn out, it could turn really bad. You're gonna look really stupid. But you know what, guys? Let's just put it out right here, okay? If it doesn't work out, I'm just gonna look really stupid. I'm okay if I look really stupid, okay? I think that you just buy the E-mini and hope you got a good spot. I think that they're gonna move up. Not sure that you hold it all the way into the close, but at least past the 3 o'clock margin calls, right? Put on an at the money short straddle if FPX lands on its sides. Yeah, sure. So like if it doesn't just take off, then you put a wait, what would be the difference between a short straddle and a... Why would you want to do it as a short straddle instead of a strangle? But yeah, or you do like an iron condor, right? Oh, not if the coin lands on its side. Oh, I see. If this doesn't take off, I think that you bank on it closing at 4K. Well, so far the volume and the price action has, I think, been mostly in line with what I thought we might see here in the treasuries, given the impulse of buying that we saw on the open. But it's all very tepid, and the amount of volume that we're getting overall is really low. Okay, so you can watch Feds Collins on YouTube if you'd like, but we already got her comments, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. There's the 30 years stepping up there again. Well, they haven't busted that 30 yet, but it kind of seems like there's maybe a little bit of pressure on that side. Yeah, 5 years, like... Are you gonna make me go? I don't wanna. Do it then. You know what? I think I should be able to go in and put orders on micro ES and everything, but since I haven't been trading it and everything, I'm not gonna. And I want to focus here on the treasuries, and I don't want to be coming in and taking an even more risky trade than yesterday after taking a loss yesterday. So I think I will just watch and hope that my larger portfolio makes enough money to make it, to make me feel good about if I'm right. But the question is, like, if you go long 39.90, because I wouldn't be surprised to see like a move against you first, right? So like, how much risk do you have to take to hold this? Because that's the thing that makes me like if I was regularly trading ES, maybe had a little bit larger of an account, and $100-200 days was like no big deal for me, then I would totally do it. So really, when it comes down to it, you're saying you're a pussy, Seth, and I say, yeah, I think you're probably right. When I look back at things, I'm not as aggressive as a risk taker as I thought I would be, and that's probably the only thing that has left me standing. But at some point, I'm gonna have to take bigger risks. Yeah. I think that the thing is that with futures, I'm kind of already a little over leveraged. Like I can have a 5 to 10% swing in a day, which makes me a little uncomfortable, right? But I think that if you're ever going to have like a breakout performance, we probably have to take some risks. So we kind of I think the take here is that I kind of have to just be ready for when a really good opportunity comes. There's been a couple of really good opportunities this year that I have taken advantage of, and I didn't quite push them as hard as I should have. So that's kind of what I'm feeling this week. Is like, it doesn't bother me so much that I took a loss, and I took a loss last week too, so that's like $100 overall from all of that. So that really puts a damper on my year, because it would take like, to make that up, it'd probably take like 5 to 10 trades, right? So that kind of puts a damper on my year. But what bothers me is that I didn't push my winners as hard as I should have. If I had pushed my winners as hard as I should have, that wouldn't be a big deal, because I'm kind of looking at this and I'm like, well, what did I do wrong? I mean, I just straight up made the wrong call, right? That's gonna happen with the way that I trade. That's the risk, is that you just make the wrong call, right? That's going to happen. So if we don't want the wrong calls to like completely destroy us, that means that when we make the right calls, we've got to squeeze everything we can out of it. I think that's kind of what I'm thinking. But you know what? The other thing that I was thinking about yesterday, it was kind of interesting, because I go through this thing where like for the first part of the day, I was pretty hard to feel motivated. So I think it did kind of depress my system a little bit. I would go in a workout and I sleep and I'm fine. And I like barely even remember it. But as I was thinking yesterday, I kind of felt like one of the things was that like I probably got too serious. Like, there was this period where the market was so crazy, and I felt like on the social media side that to compete, that you had to participate in the zany degeneracy, and I just had no interest, and I just kind of like pulled back from posting as much content and only posting something when I felt like I had like a really good insight in the market to share or something like that, right? But now that that's kind of over, and all of this stupidity has been washed out of the market, I don't think that it's been completely washed out, but with FTX's collapse, has certainly humbled a lot of people, right? I think that we should try and have more fun again. At the moment, though, I feel a little bit tense. I would like this move in the treasuries to resolve to the upside, and so far it seems to be going mostly in my favor, but it's just not breaking out conclusively, and I don't like that. Boston Fed President Susan Collins says she is optimistic that there is a path to reestablish labor market balance with only a modest rise in unemployment, Steve Leishman reports. Why do I have to push when I get the winners? I have to push them? I mean, if you want the expectancy of the system to work, I think that's what you got to do. Sorry, it was, what, NASDAQ killer? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because, well, I'll tell you the situation that we're in today, okay? I don't want anybody to be like, Seth, you told me X and you were wrong, and you blame me, okay? So you're taking your own risks, okay? And I have to admit, this trade seems a little too easy, okay? But we had record levels in the put call ratio, suggesting that there are a lot of people going short into this options expiration, and there's a very good chance that because of the way that the options kind of play out and everything, that we're going to have a strong melt up move today in the S&P 500. So I think 39.90 is probably an okay place to try and play it. I don't know like how much risk you would have to be able to play that move, but I think that the move is you put it on now and you just try and hold it until about 3 o'clock Eastern time, 3:30. So it is one of the most clear setups in the equities that I've seen in a long time. So that can be today's title, long ES, and hope it works out. Like the issue is, I mean, it might not be for you. For me, that trade is a lot of risk to play. For you, that might not be a big deal. So that's why I say like it's kind of risky. But like the whole thing is that it just seems a little too obvious. So that kind of makes me nervous about it. Where are you wrong in the ES? Ooh, that's not sure. Really not sure on that one, to be honest with you. Well, so for starters, I think that it would probably be more time-based. So like if I'm not seeing upside by lunchtime, then it must not be playing out, is what I'd be thinking. The key options kind of area is going to be 4,000, right? So there's definitely going to, so the even numbers are kind of the other places that you would play. So 3,900 and 3,950. So I suppose that if 3,950 failed, then it's definitely not working out. But I guess that's the other side of it, is that if it doesn't work, the second most likely scenario is that they chop around 4,000, right? So I'm not sure if there's really actually that much risk in, that many points price risk that you'll have to take. So I guess the other way that I would put it is I think that you take it now, and maybe I would puke it if it dropped below 39.85. And then if it drops below 39.85, just kind of hang on and wait for a better entry. Maybe take it a second time. Okay, well, the chart is dropping here a little bit. So isn't this crazy? I've been in here for about 40 minutes now. Got some price action that seemed favorable, and then in the course of 2 minutes, it goes 20 ticks against me. That sucks, man. The thing that sucks about it is that if I maybe want to stay with this, right? But that makes it awfully hard if that's how much it's moving against you. It seems like that was a crazy, like the amount that I got favorable was not even close to that. And I got much more favorable ticks. Like I took it, what time did I take it? Open 626. Yeah. So the 30-year rose a good 6, 7, it rose a good 8 ticks, and I never really got favorable ticks here in the micros. What the hell? Did see the 6J pull back a decent amount here though, so and we saw a quick little jump in the dollar as well, accompanying that move. Although the movement in the currencies doesn't seem to be affecting the S&P 500. I went silent? Can you not hear me? I'm not in on the ES trade. I wish it was. Like, if you think about it, like if we were to say, I'm going to take it here and I'm going to hold it all the way, have my stop at 39.50, that's still like $100-$200 risk for me. Sound is fine. Okay. So it's not a move that I think I can play. Bid at 12.5. I am kind of wondering if that down movement was someone giving up on a trade. Oh, yeah, I went 20 ticks, I mean, on the micro 10s. Yeah. So I was basically just venting that even though I had 8 positive ticks since I've been in this trade in the 30-year, that it only gave me 3 favorable ticks in the micros, and then they fell down and it went 20 ticks against me. So for some reason, when it's going my way, the micro yields are not moving. But it does look like that down movement. I think what might be happening, well, I do think that there could be some buying in store for us today in the treasuries. And the way that just kind of played out right there, it was like as soon as we had a little bit of down movement, it was like the buyers were all of a sudden much more willing to participate. So I wonder if, you know, the buyers are just trying to be super patient. Because you see, it's recovering that down movement quite well. Yeah, it was, you know, sometimes I have to look at the 30-year because ZN is a 7-year and this is a 10-year, and this 10-year seems to move more in line with the 30 than it does the 7 sometimes. That's what I was saying. It was like we went up almost 8 ticks in the 30-year and this barely budged. I don't know, maybe they just needed that down movement to kind of like shuffle people around in their positions and get this to move to where they eventually want to go. Look at that. It went 20 ticks against me. Now I'm back to break even. And they break new highs. Yeah, actually it says track TN instead of ZN for micro 10, as that might be the way to go. I mean, the TN now has enough liquidity that it's probably worth watching. The problem is I don't think I would want to stop watching ZN, because ZN is still the most liquid, right? But it might be a good idea to add TN. I don't know if that would make that big of a difference, but I suppose we do kind of have screen space for it, though. Yeah, this move looks like that a bunch of people went short and are getting stopped out of that. And look, bid at 17 now. So another theory is that it could have been a hedge fund. So what you can do is come in and sell a bunch, then switch to, you know, some limit orders, catch some of the trend traders coming into you, and then buy it back up. And what happens when you do that is it makes your impact stronger. So it's a riskier play, but in action as quiet as this is totally the kind of situation where you could get away with it, you know. if you were trying to create an uptrend. That's weird. Scott Adams says, I don't give investment advice, but it seems like an unusually good time to own stocks in American companies. That is a really left field thing for him to say. Oil puking, yeah, that's a good point. Oil is getting crushed once again. So I forget who it was that said this, but there was an analyst from one of the banks yesterday saying that oil may be shifting from maybe shifting to a place where there's too much supply, pushing prices down. So it's kind of interesting because oil is basically back to those prices where we were like, oh, this is like a good buy. This is going to go. And then it did, So even on this one, how much did we get? We got 1, 2, 3. I guess we got a 3-tick new high. That's still only... Oh, okay. We got 7 ticks of favorable excursion. And there were some people that hit in here at 3.784. 783. In the micros. So... I still feel pretty nervous. Man, I tell you what, Michael J. Berry sure likes his hard rock. Iron Maiden for him, apparently. That's hard rock, right? That's what we consider it. You know what? I used to be all into the punk rock. Well, I wouldn't even call it punk, more like grunge. I think I liked grunge. Most cartels tend to mafia peddling drugs. This cartel is a group of sovereign governments. It's kind of this thing where it's like, where do you draw the line on things, right? Like you can't sit down and say, well, it's okay because the government's doing it, right? So where is the line where it's okay and it's not okay? Well, like the government can print money. I mean, it's done in an open and regulated way, and it's done in an open market, and it seems to work. So I'm okay with the monetary system that we have. It's not that it's perfect. There's certainly things that could be improved on it, but I don't think that I know enough about it to really have a confident opinion on what you should change. Only that some of the things that the more conservative people want to do probably would be a bad idea. Right? So why can't you have, other people print it? Well, I guess the difference between, say, a Tether or a FTX and the US government is that the banks do print the money, but there are very strict regulations on terms of what kind of assets you have to hold against that and everything. So $800 trade today, micro yield? No, I don't think so. I wish. Like, I'm having trouble even getting 10 ticks on this, man. And it kind of looks like if this is a trade that I really want to run, that we're gonna have to sit through a pullback and have another leg up. We're in the money we should add, maybe. Anyone can print money. It's called an in-kind payment. You just can't settle your debts with. There you go. Like in terms of adding, I do think that there are some situations where I should add contracts when I'm in a winter, but I would have to be in a situation where I'm very, very confident that it's going to continue through. And I don't think that the volume that we've been seeing justifies me in adding contracts. Maybe if we got another leg up, but right now volume is still a little slow. I'm not necessarily seeing like strong autocorrelated order long, right? The pullbacks are a little it didn't get 10 ticks favorable. So I don't know if that, but this is something that I don't think I've completely figured out how I should do it. It's like when should I add the risk? And so I just kind of always end up taking the position of minimizing risk as much as possible. Well, okay, you know what? Here in the S&P 500, up 5 points in it. I think I could add there at 39.95 if I was in this. If I had taken the trade, I think, yeah, sure, add 39.95. I think that's fair. Because I'm really confident in that one, and it's been working so far. I'm not up for grabs. Look, as soon as I say that, S&P 500 is like, he's fully long. Now let's go down for the lows. Catch. So like, even look at this. We've been around the 15 area for a long time. 15 is the point of control for this session. 13,000 contracts though, over basically an hour. It hasn't quite been an hour, but almost an hour. That's not particularly good, is it? And again, the overall treasury and the yields seem to be diverging. So I think what is going on is that because these treasuries are starting to get close to the end of their contract, that might be why I'm seeing some of this. I guess that means that well, if you had traded it on the short side, you would have made good money on it, right? Yep, so Paul Krugman, if the site gets musked into oblivion, you can find my columns and newsletters here. I really sincerely hope that Twitter survives the weekend. So somebody said that it's kind of like you're on a date and you say goodbye and then you find out that you're both going to the same subway station. Like, because all of these people are saying goodbye to Twitter. They think that it's going to fall apart over the weekend. Because like there have been critical infrastructure people have disappeared, and apparently there have been more reported outages on Twitter. But you know, this is what I do for a living. Okay, so I understand the sort of things that those people do for a website, and I would totally say that what they do is important and that you got to keep those people in. But I'm a little bit skeptical that it means that the website just crashes. You know? Like, man, Twitter is a super fragile ecosystem and wasn't engineered very well if it's like one engineer disappears. Well, not one engineer, it was most of the teams, but you know, that it can't run on its own for a few weeks, you know? I registered with another broker and they gave me one free stock and it was Twitter. The Eli Lilly troll account, what tweet was enough for me to want Twitter to survive? I want more of that stuff. So I looked into that because a conservative commentator on TikTok that I generally like made a TikTok that I felt was a little bit irresponsible about this, basically saying like, well, you should buy Eli Lilly. And I was like, well, that's maybe a little bit irresponsible. That's kind of bordering on investing advice, right? But I think that during that time there was rotation out of healthcare and staples, and that was probably a significant factor behind Eli Lilly's decline. And the tweet was just kind of like the cherry on top. So people might be reading too much into it. So see, like we've pulled back to basically the spot where we've spent most of our time, and I'm down 10 ticks again. The LMT one was just cherry on top. But there's definitely lots of algorithms watching Twitter, for sure. But you know what? Like, here's another thing: is that in my opinion, because everybody's saying, oh well, it was fake news, and so they were falling on fake news, so it will come out. I think that the tweet was 100% a good reason to sell. Like, it's just terrible PR for the company, you know. Basically everybody sees that, oh yeah, Eli Lilly is greedy, and somebody clowned on them, haha. Like, that's not good for your company, right? Especially one in such a public way. Like, that's that's not a stock that I'm gonna come in and try and catch the falling knife on. Nah, no thanks. Well, I'm watching these treasuries like a laser, looking for some sort of a clue as to what's going on here today. And they are just not giving me any hints. The volume continues to be incredibly iffy. I would say that everything is still in line and looks okay for an up move. I hope that they move up and that we get new highs and that then this could maybe run, but it's not giving me any hints that it's actually going to do it. It kind of just continues to be stuck here at 15 and like that it's not interested. And that move down and then up really kind of was like, it gave me a lot of encouragement. But now that it's kind of come back and starting to rest here at 15 again, that makes me think that the market maker just decided to kind of shuffle people around, and that there's maybe not actually a meta order coming here in the treasuries today. I'm losing faith. And there's a downtick of 14.5. That's not particularly useful, right? Forex Live tweets copper is the simplest investment thesis anywhere. Oh, I don't know about that one, because China continues. Copper is going to be driven largely by China. And so it's definitely like you buy it now and at some point in the future it works out well for you. But who knows when China gives up on all of that insanity. The hottest boot this winter is a tiny UGG platform shoe. You can wear the platform Uggs with tights, miniskirt, a blazer, and go. What is it? And go to dinner at Nobu. Yeah, wear like the Han Solo outfit, and I can see it. Okay, so at least in the 30 and the 10, we're back to the lows from that last swing down. Dollar pumping, yeah, it is. The dollar coming back up hasn't really been helping us too much, has it? The 6J through all of this has been flat, so there's still a good chance that the treasuries see a move of some sort, because you usually do see some shuffling in the currencies going into the weekend, right? I don't know how that tends to go. If the 6J is likely to move one way or another today, but ECB is not. The physical risks are significant. Man, the leftists on Twitter are really talking like today is the twitopocalypse. Twitopocalypse. Twitpocalypse. The twitpocalypse. There you go. The leftists on Twitter are really talking like today is the twitpocalypse. So I am seeing some steepening in here. How are your kids? I'd say they're doing pretty okay. So Ethan has learned to cry, like really cry. I mean, he's like what, 6 months old now? And when he's unhappy, he it sounds like I always think that somebody's being murdered in the other room or something, you know? It's like, what did you do to him? Oh, he's just hungry or so. What? It's just crazy. But I had a dream last night that Asher was talking, but he just still doesn't talk. He's obsessed with with the Mario Kart though, so we give him the Mario Kart, and that keeps him occupied for a few hours. So like this spot right here in the treasuries is just like this is starting to get into like maximum frustration. Like the offer's looking weak and like nothing happens, right? No orders come into it. Granted, if you were the other way, you'd probably be just as frustrated, but probably it's slightly less frustrated. Okay, so on that downtick, there was a little bit of pushback on it, but you need to work on his attention to you and his mom's eyes, because that is a precursor to language. Yeah. That's the thing, is he doesn't like to look at you, man. It's just the whole issue here is that number one, he doesn't want to pay attention to people or anything. And two is that he is like the reward center in his brain doesn't act. So like he will say things and will praise him, but then like it never happens again. So he said many, many words. So I think that he's just very severely ADHD, and it will take a little bit longer for his executive functioning to build up enough to be able to do language. It's kind of sucks, but it'll be okay. My parents said that I was almost 3 before I started speaking, so and that I didn't really speak until I was like 4 or 5. So he said that they went from like hardly ever saying a word to like they couldn't shut me up. Okay, well they finally put a bid at 14.5, so that's slightly encouraging. Nobody's buying into 15, but there you go. Oh, this is a little bit of a stack at 14.5. Well, if I were to have played this perfectly, probably what I should have done is like scratched this or taken 5 ticks on it and then gone short again when it came back up here, huh? Okay, so on the long thesis on the S&P 500. So number one is that I would have expected a little bit more positive action in the 30 minutes before the open. So that I think is not positive to the thesis. But then the other thing that is starting to concern me is that oil is just getting creamed. What is going on with oil? Just give it a stop and stop looking at it and hiding it? No, that's not a bad idea, to be honest with you. Anyways, when I think about Asher, I think one of the things that I've started to do more as I've gotten older is just started to acknowledge that people are what they are. Like when I was younger, I thought, well, all people have their free agency and everybody could choose to do the same things that I've done and be as successful as I've been. And they could have choose the things that hurt them. They could have chosen to not do those things. And I still believe that, but what I'm starting to realize is that there's a lot of factors in there that kind of predispose you to go into a certain way, and that you kind of just have to take people at where they're at, you know, and just encourage them. So like, you know, I can't get mad at Asher for not speaking too much. This is like with NASDAQ Killer yesterday. I was like, I don't know what's with him today, but it's okay. I don't need to get mad at him or anything like that. It was fine, and I think that we've all kind of come there and we're like, well, we understand him and we know that he's been a good contributor and that he'll be back, and that things will be fine, you know. And I've just learned to just like relax. Like it used to be, if I had an argument with my wife, I'd be like really concerned that like, okay, like how much have I harmed the relationship from doing this, and et cetera, et cetera. But now it's just like we can like be mad at each other and disagree, and then like not have to, you know, realize that it's not a big deal and just move on. Nick Timiros, Alan Detmester, an economist at UBS who previously headed the wages and prices section in the Fed's Research and Statistics Division, in a research note forecasts core PCE inflation will slow to roughly the Fed's target by the end of next year and then drop to about 1.6% in 2024. To be sure, this is an out-of-consensus forecast that also projects the U.S. entering recession next year, with the unemployment rate rising through 2024 and real GDP growth that is around zero over the next 2 years. Thanks. I just obsess over little things in trading. Well, I tell you what, NASDAQ is one of the things that helps me the most to help you is being fully upfront with what's going on. Like if you're saying, if yesterday you were saying that because you weren't having too much success that day, and you're looking for some guidance on what you could possibly do, right? That probably would have given me a better idea of what to say, you know, like helping understand why you're frustrated. Do you know what I mean? If you're just frustrated that you want me to make a straight call, then I totally understand that sentiment, but just understand that it's intentional, you know? It's because the thing isn't that I'm trying to keep secrets from you guys, or, you know, like if I have an edge, I don't want to share it with y'all. I mean, maybe that does happen, but really what it is that I don't want you guys relying on me for your trade information. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not trying to bully you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was trying to, because you're not the only person that complains about that. You know what I mean? But maybe what you were saying was different. People on TikTok all the time are like, wow, you're being too cryptic. I was like, well, okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood that. Well, did we breach new? Nope, we did in the 30-year, but not in the 10-year yet. No, I am the one that's sorry. Okay, well. So here's the other thing. Let's just keep it at that. Here's the other thing. I don't think that I have super great interpersonal skills. like let's be honest. If I was a more socially intelligent and personable person, the stream would probably be more popular, yeah? Probably. But I'm too ADHD, and I'm sure that a lot of neurotypical people pick up on that, and I think a lot of other people are like, he's just not cool enough. Probably. Okay, so I did get 10 ticks there for a slight moment, and then it backed off again. But that 18 basically closes the gap, at least. Closes the overnight gap. So now we have to see if they extend to, up it, you know? Like, I think a really good move for today would be a move back to 113. I don't know if we're actually going to get that far. But anyways, you know, like this thing at the S&P 500 where I've basically made an outright call. This is very rare. I don't like doing that. I think this is a situation where there's such a strong looking opportunity that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of it, you know? But most of the time I'm trying to help you guys figure it out on your own. That end, I don't have all of the answers, right? So a lot of it is, you know, sitting here and talking about it with you guys helps me figure it out a lot of the time, right? Okay, well, here's the open. Oh, we were just talking NASDAQ killer yesterday we had was a little frustrated with me for whatever reason, and we were just kind of talking about that. He was basically saying, you know, why don't you make a trade or you make a call or something like that. And actually, it wasn't yesterday. It was like 2 days ago, wasn't it? Yesterday, I don't think you were here yesterday, NASDAQ killer, but yesterday was just a terrible day for me. Just a terrible day. Well, this is starting to look better. This is starting to look better in the treasury. This particular move up in the 10-year had volume behind it finally. So that's encouraging. Okay, S&P 500 on the open, trading a very, very tight range, and I'm seeing a little bit of iceberging on the bids. I'm going to reset my treasuries here so that I can, because the 5-year is starting to get away from me a little bit. Okay, so there was some iceberging at 39.87, but not at 86, 85, 84. A little bit at 84. Seeing, I'm just going, because I am seeing a few retail traders in the micros take some orders there. The 10-year is fidgeting around a little bit more now. There's definitely more level 2 activity. Jimmy Oreo, price caps always lead to higher prices. Every economist knows this. Sometimes they forget it when they go into government work, but they usually remember right when they get out. Yes. That's exactly what happens. Okay. Right back to those highs. Very good. We would like to see a breach of like 21 to really see what we would consider like breakouts. Well, geez, guys, I didn't mean to make it so awkward. I was like, yep, I'm not cool, and everybody's just kind of like, yeah, you're not. Sorry, Seth. I'm not gonna say nothing. Okay, a little bit of iceberging at 20. They're able to push through it though, quite quickly, in fact. And now they're pushing the overnight high. Yeah, and there you go. There's the break of the overnight high. I'd say micro's still not going quite as much as I would like. You know, well, there may be a few ticks behind, I felt. Like that was a 16 tick move in ZN. I feel like it should be more than 20 bucks. If my trading is losing, will doing the opposite trade make me profitable? No, probably not. So the problem with the trading, so if you were to come in and do a coin flip, for instance, right, you would think that you would win 50% of the time, right? But what actually happens, and you can go and you can backtest this or just try it. Usually what ends up happening is you actually win 45% of the time. Why is that? Well, if you're doing it with a market order, then you're paying the spread. And so that spread works against you to that like 5% probability difference, right? So what ends up happening is that you have a strategy that doesn't work. Doing the opposite of that probably also doesn't work. I mean, kind of depends on like what your risk rewards are and everything. But like, let's say that you have equal risk reward and you take in the trade and then you only win like 30% of the time. Then doing the opposite of that would probably help, right? Because that should mean that you should be winning 70% of the time if you did the opposite, right? But generally speaking, that's not what ends up happening. So what's the best use for mobile trading for Ninja? Oh, I don't know. It played out. It did. I'm still a little, well, actually, this move here to the breach of the highs is much more like what I was hoping to see. We got to nail the exit though. What about a 1-to-1 with 100%? What do you mean by that? So 100% 1-to-1. Like if you were making money equal risk reward and you were winning every time, that's awfully impressive. That would actually be suspicious. That would be suspiciously good. You get what I mean? Like first of all, if that's what you were getting, I would be like, not believe you. But then if you could actually prove it and show that you were, I would be wondering if that's not something that's gonna like collapse on you soon, you know? Like that's just stuff like that doesn't last in trading very long, you know? Doesn't matter what other people do or think, or what matters is what you think and do and how to improve it. I think that's totally a good thing. I think that's right. Yeah. So that's the best dude up in here. All things. No, okay. So you risk 100% to make 100%. Is it still? Oh, no. Yeah, that's something different. We're talking about a situation where when we're talking about risk, we're just talking about number of points. And let's just assume that you have infinite money so that, you know, you can draw down as far as necessary to pull through whatever like the drawdown might be. Jim Simmons at Renaissance Technology only has a 51% win rate. Yeah, but that's interesting. Where did you hear that from? I didn't know that we knew that about him. But if you're getting like a 51% win rate and your winners are bigger than your losers, then that's spectacular, right? It's just like, you know, I had that video where I drew the picture up on the chalkboard of like the break even point for risk reward, right? So the base assumption is with a statistically efficient market that any given trade over a large enough data set will converge to that line, right? If it was a perfectly statistically efficient market. Of course, we know that it's not perfectly statistically efficient, and it's not statistically efficient against everything all at the same time, right? So, but that just kind of gives you an idea. So the further away from that line you are, you know, the more suspicious I become, basically. Right? The average winner versus the average loser is more important. Yeah. But, you know, like, here's the other thing is like, for me, okay, if I'm taking maybe like one trade a day, you know, and maybe my average trade, I'm making $20, you know, how many trades do you have to take to really see the full distribution of that? Well, especially since I try and let my winners run, and every once in a while I catch a bad loser, you know, like you'd really need thousands and thousands of trades to really be able to see. That's going to take years to see, you know? So you get into this situation where for like one trade, like really shifts the profitability for the year or whatever the deal is, and doesn't really tell you a whole lot about how good the overall system is. Musk was becoming a Twitter celebrity. So like is it a little weird? Like everybody that works at Twitter, all, you know, that hate Elon Musk, and all of the people on the left are talking about how Twitter's not going to be able to stay up over the weekend because they don't have any employees anymore practically. And Elon Musk is just tweeting away. He's loving it. Oh, he said that he had a Cut 51.75 win rate. Had a speech at Sunny, SUNY. Okay, well, that last move up was pretty good. This is the pullback. And it's like a 10-tick pullback in the micros. Maybe Elon Musk doesn't care if Twitter just dies. I don't know. So, I don't know if you guys, I think we would rather talk about risk reward, right? Not Twitter. Let's center things right there. Okay, so far, we said 39.90. It's gone to 39.75, so 15 points risk. And let's just say that the stop is at 39.50. It could get there. So I did say that it wouldn't surprise me if they kind of sold it first. That looks like what they're deciding to do. Although the amount of volume behind like the downside here in the ES is not that much. And there's just seems like a excessive iceberging today. So I think buyers are buying that dip. Carl Quintilla tweets oil down below $80 on pace for worst week since April. My ES chart frozen? Oh, you're right, it is. Well, it's not frozen, it just was, there was a gap. So something's wrong with Rhythmic data this morning where it's not loading the historical data overnight. So I'm getting a gap in all of my charts from when I closed it yesterday. Like this data point over here is when I closed it yesterday, and it's not loading all of the data from when I had Rhythmic closed. No, we didn't have a fight. He was frustrated with me for some reason, and the whole thing that I was saying was like, well, I'm not mad at him. It's okay. And he might feel like he was saying he's sorry, and I was like, I don't think you even have to say sorry. We know each other well enough at this point that, we could just look past that. I never get mad at people. I'm neutral toward anyone. What are you talking about here, D? Some large open interest. Okay. Well, this move that we had here in the ZN did correlate with some movement in the Japanese yen. So same with this pullback. The passion, it gets steamy in here, boys. I mean, I think that when you get this close to a group of people that's, especially with guys, there's going to be a little bit of don't like that turn down back to 18. Batch. So after all of that, I have to scratch it. Watch them spike right back up to the high after that. But after all of that, I am not gonna to put risk on again after that. No way. It's just not. I mean, that move up was good, but I was kind of looking there like okay, so I wanted to try and hold it because I was thinking that the options could move the treasuries and that it looks like that the direction is going to move them is up. Right? But based on like the metrics that I was seeing, like how much the treasuries had moved, how long it had taken for it to happen, how much difficulty and stress it was causing me, etc., etc., I was thinking like I maybe I should be taking it off, if not for the overall thesis about the options. But that's why I was like, well, I'll scratch it if it comes back. Well, like it's gone through there, so I would be losing right now if I hadn't scratched it. And this volume is coming back really hard too, so it's really frustrating because I still would have been really happy with 10 or 20 bucks today. I guess I did get 20 ticks favorable and 17 ticks unfavorable, so it's okay in that respect. Yeah, I don't think that we should be too unhappy with ourselves. Saw a documentary that talked about how we never really recovered from the '08 crash. Yeah, yeah. I don't know, Andre. I don't think that it would be appropriate to say like we never really recovered from the '08 crash. I would say that the 2008 crash had lasting impacts that probably never go away. It just created a fundamental shift in the economy, and we're seeing it after the pandemic as well, right? So like the big one after the 2008 crash was the malls, right? Like the biggest malls still work, but it is just not as bustling of a place as it was before 2008, man. Like it used to be the place, and the stores are always bustling and everything. Now it's like there's always empty places. There's always an empty slot in the mall. There's not that many people. This holiday season, I'm worried this holiday season is going to be brutal. Take my car out finally tomorrow. It's showing sun out tomorrow and dropping oil. Oy. So that was the biggest one after the 2008 crisis. So like basically Amazon took over and a lot of these local businesses never recovered. So on the original trade, I really preferred. I wanted 3.8. And now that it's there, I'm kind of like, well, there's that price that you wanted, but I don't like this action. I don't like this action, guys. So another thing that I think has kind of been getting me down, man, it's like I can feel it. I can feel it right here in my chest when the thought goes through, I'm not too sure how much more opportunity in the treasuries we will have this year. I'm gonna bet that we have another big move next week before Thanksgiving, but then after that, I think that December might be a little bit of a slog, and that we might not have really good opportunities for solid trading again until January. And that kind of makes me feel really sad. Because it's like, I took two big losers in the past 2 weeks. So that basically puts me at break even for the year again. And I want the high of the big winner again and be back on top, you know? Which side do you lean on more, an intuitive trader or a system trader with the rules you don't deviate from? Well, so I think that I have a lot of both, right? So you might notice that I am a lot more selective about my trades than most traders are, okay? But I am very discretionary about it, okay? Because where the edge is coming from is primarily coming from my reading of potential order flows for that day. I would like to systematize that more, but I don't think I have access to the kind of data that I would need to build a system like that. Like, I don't know how these guys get into these CTA systems, because one of the key factors in a model of that nature would be how much money overall has been allocated to CTAs, so that I know how much money is going to come out from them, right? So there's kind of like some key points missing. Maybe there is some study out there where they made a CTA model of this sort that these other guys like Charlie McGilligot are used as their basis, but I've never found it. You already possess the high of knowledge. Winners will come later. Well, CTAs, like commodity trading advisor, momentum strategies. So momentum strategies in particular have been like a key player in this market, because the momentum strategies basically lost a ton of money off of that CPI. Anyways, I think you're right about that NASDAQ killer. It was like I was saying earlier, is like, I feel like I've done all my homework. Like I've learned everything about, like I've been following up on the news as best as I know how. And I have a really, really solid understanding of markets. That doesn't mean that I know everything, but I'm in a place where I can do my thing, and I just have to do my thing the best as I can, and hope God makes up the rest. Is kind of where we're at. CPIY, well, because people were getting quite bearish before that CPI, and then it surprised in a really big way, and so they all had to puke on that. Yeah, it is funny. I do think it is funny. At the same time, if we wanted to move to a more of a professional strategy, would we call it? I wouldn't say a professional strategy, but like trading other people's money, essentially. Like the way to go in our industry is to be a CTA, or in some respect. So like, I would be a CTA for Treasury. I trade Treasury momentum, and then other funds would give me money as part of their larger strategy that is, their momentum everything, right? So if that was the case, we were doing that, we probably would have gotten slaughtered. And unless our strategy prospectus gave us enough leeway to hedge ourselves in those situations, and we just wouldn't be in. Well, you're still better than 95% of traders who lose if you're break even, so I guess there is that. Yeah. And you know what, Lucas, I didn't come into this year thinking like, oh, I want to make X much, right? My goal was to pay for the data and the commissions, right? And I would say we're falling a little bit short of that, but we still did really good, and we definitely had some really good runs. So like, I think that like the difference between like here and like just absolutely killing it all the time is like really small, right? It's just really small adjustments. I think about yesterday, I made the decision that I did, and I was totally believed in it at the time. I look back on it and I'm kind of like, I don't understand why I took on as much risk as I did in that situation. So I don't know what I was thinking. So I saw you buy CPI. So what is your point? Do CTAs just to be caught off guard by the market? Yeah, well, because the momentum was going the other way from that means that a lot of the momentum strategies essentially ended up being short going into the CPI. And then when CPI turned around, they basically they had to either dump their positions, if not outright reverse, right? And then you got what happened yesterday. Was it yesterday? Or was it the day before? I think it was Wednesday, wasn't it? Then we got the thing that happened on Wednesday where like all of the CTAs came in long in the treasuries, and then immediately after that, they get hammered down by Bullard, right? So I think a lot of CTAs are hurting. Well, now that they've come back to 15, they're just like frustratingly chilling there again. Grass is always greener on the other side until it's not. Well, I don't think that the grass is greener on the other side. It just sounds exciting to me. Use any gamification strategies, for instance, instead of putting in a stop limit order above price to go short and waiting for it to get filled, you wait for price to move up to your level and then put a limit order to sell below your price, thereby possibly removing some of the instances of price continuing to move against you and retaining more instances of price moving in your favor. So let me read that again. Oh, okay. So, I think I understand what you're saying, and the only instances where I find that a strategy of that sort of a thing helps you is the catching the edge and iceberg setups for your order flow. So we just got existing home sales change. Looks like it's slightly higher than expected, and leading index change is less than expected. They are moving a little bit up off of that. Okay, so if we're coming up on like a high, okay, I'm seeing iceberging below me. There's an even number up above me. Maybe there's some big orders up above me. That tends to be a really good setup for they'll slip through the high. And so one of the ways to play it is to put a stop order up there at the top and try and play the momentum as it slips through, right? So or either that or get in on the iceberg. So there's the iceberg setup and there's the as she goes setup, right? So the as she goes setup is basically if this 1000, this 1100 here dropped to, under 200, then I hit it with a market order, right? Those are the only two situations where I found that sort of thing brings an edge, because the general conclusion that I've made from all of my study in the market and all of the back testing that I've done is that a move in price is just not very indicative of anything. It's just not very indicative of anything. And so like waiting for it to come up and then back down and then taking it on the back down sort of a thing or something like that is just like, nah. If I go and I back test that in NinjaTrader, it's going to come out slightly negative. It's a free money setup. So it's overall it's a 50-50, but in this market it has been free money setup. Yeah. So if you're doing that, if you're getting it right, you shouldn't have to risk any money. You should be able to just take it as she goes. And then if it doesn't immediately go, you hit out at break even. Yep. In practice, it doesn't quite work out that way. In practice, it might not go and you might hold on to it for a little bit. And you sound frustrated by OPEX? Well, so far, nothing seems to be going the way that I wanted it to, is it? I'm a little frustrated that I had to scratch that trade is what's going on. I'm more frustrated by like taking a loss earlier in the week and stuff. Missing the opportunity on Wednesday, although that one's not my fault because most of that movement happened after we were done trading. Then losing $40 yesterday on the news. I mean, I've taken some trades in that situation and hitting into the low liquidity in the micros, but that time it just really didn't work out, right? Are there any backtesting programs out there that don't use candle height? Well, so you can go into NinjaTrader and you can test it on a 1-tick chart, yeah, or with 1 tick underneath of the chart. No. I lost $50 yesterday. I lost 50. So I basically went from being up 100 to being down 100, and then you take the data fees on top of that, right? So I'm pretty bummed. Oh, did that loss eventually convert into a break even or a winner after you closed it? I mean, I don't remember. I think that what happened was, I lost. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that what happened was I took the loser on that, and then it just didn't go anywhere for the rest of the session. So it wasn't something that came back after I got out or anything like that. It was just like if I had held it like all session, it would have been the same amount of loss. And I did have an opportunity to make some of it back, but it just didn't work. It was kind of like this one. It's like it just didn't quite work out. So one of the things that I'm having issue with, actually, let's come in. I don't think I want to do it right now. I was going to say, I could come in and look at it and say, okay, based on all of the trades that I had just taken, if I had used certain risk reward parameters, what I have done, because I think that most of the trades that I've taken in the last month have given me at least 10 ticks, but there's many situations where it even goes to 20 ticks and then it comes all the way back. That's probably happened a few times. That certainly happened over this past week, right? And one of the issues I've had is like, even though I know that the volatility is contracting, I haven't been able to take advantage of those trades. Like, I know that I should be able to like fade these edges and take the quick profits, but that just like never works out. It's just like I never get fill in the place that I want to, and then I end up chasing it and getting out at break even, basically. You know, like it just comes back too fast. But that's not what happened yesterday. Today, if I had had something sitting out there to just take the $20, then that would have worked a lot better, right? But on the same hand, if I had the 20 tick stop loss on the other side, well, I guess it wouldn't have gotten triggered, but it would have been awfully close. Might have gotten triggered because of those, even though there wasn't volume at those prices, I think that they might have gotten bid and offer and stuff. So, tell you what though, that 3.8, remember I said 3.8 is what I originally wanted, and now they're back there, and I was just like, well, whatever. Wouldn't have been too bad if I'd gotten back in at that spot, would it? But I don't like this so far. Like, the whole thing is that what's the usual behavior for the treasuries, like before the pandemic? It's oh, you think it's gonna break out and run, and then it kind of does, and then just comes right back to the center of the range, right? That's exactly what they'll do. It's just so hard to catch like a true breakout in the treasury. Do you think there's significant information in things like when the spread is tight but then becomes wide? Yes, there is. I'm not sure about the direction, but maybe that's an event where a decision could be made. Yeah, so when something like that happens, that means that there has been an increase in volatility, and the market makers have decided to reduce their risk. So that is a definite sign of a shift in the market. And hopefully you're reading the order flow really well, and you might be able to. Some of our best trading kind of happens in that situation where it's like the liquidity just gets reduced in that situation, and it's just moving around a lot. And you can kind of come in and just take all of the swings and just take a bunch of little small profits. Today, dollar comeback. Well, I would say that the rise in the dollar is about in line with the volatility that we've been seeing in the dollar lately, but it's definitely a pretty strong pushback against what had happened earlier in the week. And like I said, I was thinking that the trade was long ES. I don't think that trade is going to work out before we leave today. Yeah, in a situation like that, I don't like to have my own limit orders sitting out there. I'll wait for it to come to my price and then put a limit order out. But anyways, now I think that there is a possibility that it kind of does this and chops around, maybe even until the London close. But then, like I said, before lunchtime, we should probably see them starting to turn up. But maybe it's not going to work out. Doesn't seem to be working out. And that was what I was saying. It was like the thing that was about it is that it seems like it's too obvious of a trade. So I don't know. And the other thing of it is that I thought, oh, okay, if that's what's going to happen in ES, we might get some similar run in the treasury. And since we saw some pretty strong buying right on the open of the pit session in the treasury, that's why we want to go short rates. And when you look at the way that played out, I think that we had like what the orders were going to be for that day, we were able to call that pretty good, but it didn't run away, right? So that kind of suggests that this like runaway options market thing is so far failing to materialize. This is not, it doesn't completely destroy the trade, but it's sure not encouraging. Sure not encouraging. Now I am seeing the dollar turn around a little bit here, so there's that. I typically find that the trades that scare me the most are also the most profitable. You know, I guess there's a variety. I have found that like when somebody in chat like really strongly disagrees with a trade that I make, that those are very, very often the best trades. That does happen a lot, actually. But I can also think of some of the best trades that I've had being ones like today, where it was really tough and really tight for a long time, but we held through it, and then it just ran, and then it turns into a steamroller and it just keeps going. Today it wasn't a steamroller. Trade until it stops working. No, I don't like taking that approach. I only want to trade something if I really have something that suggests that it's going to work, and I understand why. It doesn't mean that we can predict everything. It's just, you know, I don't want to be a noise trader, right? I don't want to be a noise trader. That's the real gist of it. Is that it's really difficult, in fact, perhaps theoretically impossible, to have consistent edge with noise unless you're able to take on a very, very excessive risk. Misunderstanding again? Okay. But you're saying, see what's wrong in control for the variable and adjust fragments of it. Is like, that is something that I've kind of tried doing and didn't really have success with. Another fight. There you go. Yeah. Fight. Let's take it to the horse. Another aggressive. Well, actually, that was probably the first like aggressive sell in the treasury that I've seen in a moment. So. Okay, so Collins just said that she is concerned that there could be a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy dynamic going on that could increase the risk of a recession, and I totally agree with her here. So like, if I come back here to ES, and we go all the way back, I'm not entirely sure that the current state of the economy justifies like a negative 20% decline on the year. I think that they're front running it a little bit too much. I think that the 4,000 to 4,200 is probably appropriate. But the orders have come in a way to push it down further. So I think that there is something to that. People's expectations and cynicism is pushing the market down more than it should, and that increases the chances of this not working. I am reasonably confident that we can avoid a recession, says Feds Collins. It's so weird to hear them say that, because it's like, but we're probably already in a recession. Like, oh, I'm not a noise trader. No, I don't think I really understand how you trade NASDAQ. So I'm not calling you a noise trader. I what you were saying, I was saying is can lead to you becoming a noise trader, though, right? Because the issue is you'll think that there's like one variable that is like controls it, but then when you go and you backtest it, you find out that there's just as much noise in that thing as there is anything else. So it doesn't actually, right? Like there has to be a reason why that particular thing would be like the controlling variable, right? And or maybe there's a Markov system behind it, right? No, you're saying you're saying I should do it, right? You're saying I should do it this way. I just didn't say anything about me. No, we're talking about me, not you. Yeah, we're talking about me. But that's what I'm saying. I'm so the controlling variable here really. The controlling variable here really is volatility, isn't it? Right. So no, I don't think I understand how you trade. So I think that the biggest controlling variable here in that kind of affects my own strategies is volatility. And the issue is that you basically have to predict volatility, which you can't always do. That's for me. Or if I was looking at that sort of thing, that's the place that I would go. Okay, Feds Collins says 75 basis points is still on the table. Market not liking that. I'm not sure if that's a strong enough statement for me to justify going long rates here, but yeah, what are your variables? I don't know. But all I'm saying is, regardless of what those variables are, what it always comes down to is how effective can you predict those variables, right? So it's very, I've never run into a situation where you can look at the current variable and then it, you do the thing based on what the current variable is and it helps. Because what ends up happening is whatever that variable is, like for instance volatility, shifts on you, right? So you have to be able to predict that variable essentially. What do you think about the modern quant funds are feeding into their machine learning systems? Do you think any of them are experimenting with visual pixel information? No. So there was actually a study where they put charts into one of these machine learning algorithms to see if the machine learning algorithm could come up with a profitable strategy from looking at the visual charts, and it wasn't able to do it. Didn't work. So machine learning in finance is really interesting. Oh, I don't have the link. It was on archive.org. I read all sorts of studies on archive.org. You just have to go and search. It was in the quantitative finance section somewhere. And what works? I think that what works for me can be broken down into variables. Yes, but you have to know what the future variable is going to be, not the current one. Right? So I could come down and I could say, if you can tell me what this variable is going to be in 30 minutes, and there's probably like 2 or 3 of them, and then I could probably tell you like exactly what to do, right? But the current variable that you get in, yeah, it's just noise. The current variable and like the past history of that variable, it just ends up being more noise. Now, every once in a while you get a piece of information that can predict those variables, right? Like today is probably a good example in the options, although it just looks like that one's not working out. But maybe their machine learning algorithm wasn't smart enough to come up with harmonics and draw bars on a chart. Then it would have been a different story. Well, so the thing with machine learning in finance is that the applications often actually tend to be really narrow. So like, for instance, in the paper about that volatility is mostly path dependent, and they used machine learning to determine how much the past prices factored into the volatility estimate. And so they kind of created this thing where if it was yesterday, it had this much of a change in it. And if it was 2 days ago, it had this much, and it ends up being this curve. And that curve is what they used machine learning to figure out, essentially, right? So like, it's actually like super narrow case. You get what I mean? So, basically what you want to do, like what Lucas is talking about, is that if we wanted to do that sort of a thing, then probably what we should be doing is we should be coming up with some sort of a harmonic model, and then there might be a machine learning component of the harmonic model to adjust the harmonic model to the current market, right? And then you could run like a unsupervised algorithm on top of that to figure something out, right? But the machine learning is not smart enough to come in and figure out on its own that like there's harm. Yeah, you're right. You seen those bat signals? Okay. I don't know. So here's the thing though, Lucas. Of everything that I've tested, the purely technical price strategy that was the most promising was based on harmonics. So I took, it was a NinjaTrader 8 indicator that's out there that was made by Euler, that was our harmonics, and you have to like forward test it. So like you run it over 2 weeks, and then you adjust the threshold point, because you get this little sine wave, and you could basically say, okay, when the sine wave crosses 1, then you take the trade or whatever the deal is, right? So you have to adjust it because it shifts as the market moves along. But it's like, it'll work for a few months, and then, at the end of the month, you readjust it. And if you do that, then it worked really well. So I wouldn't say that it was enough to trade off of just that. But it did appear to have, it basically what it said to me is that the regular oscillation in the market is a thing, even if it's kind of hard to really truly make money off of it, but that you might be able to incorporate it into your systems to gain yourself just a little bit of extra edge. Yeah, that's how most machine learning models roll. Excellent curve fitting to past data, new data as clueless as flip-flopping. I mean, I do think that part of what's going on in this market and part of why I'm having trouble is because we're going through this regime shift. And so there are probably all of these algorithms that are getting really screwed up because they've been so optimized towards this high volatility environment. And now that we're moving into a period where volatility appears to be, at least temporarily, contracting, they don't know what to do with it. And so since a lot of what I'm doing is watching what those do, I'm having trouble as a result too. Yeah, Lucas, that was the same thing for me. As I did not have anything. Well, actually, so Collins was started speaking at 6:40, right? That's probably on your calendar. Sorry, 8:40 Eastern time. So the deal with that one was I had no clue that Collins' event was going to go for 2 hours. Right? I tried walk forward analysis and it really helped me to find better parameters, but I am still hesitant to automate all of this. Well, the whole thing is generally speaking, if you use walk forward analysis, your algorithm should be less likely to work, right? It's basically walk forward analysis is a way to try and avoid curve fitting. So it's basically what it's doing is it's breaking it up into periods, and it says, okay, if I do the back test on this, and then I run through this period, okay, and then the market shifts, but I still do the thing, I do the back test on this, and then I walk forward, then it should work. And then that shows me that it's not just like I went over the whole data series and just found the best solution for that data series and it doesn't work in the future. Yeah, I've never seen this where it's like 2 hours later, right? Almost over 2 hours later. But you know what? It kind of looks like that in the market did react to her comments, and then after everybody took the trade, it's going to come back to where it was. It's almost like, and hasn't this kind of been the case with all of the Fed speakers? I don't think it's just the volatility is coming in either. I think that it also partly that the treasuries are getting really close to the roll, right? Because basically next week is when you're going to start seeing people start to roll. I want this dude to stop speaking. I want my cake in my favorite cafe. Well, why are you sticking around here if you're going to get cake? You want to listen to socially inept Seth come in here and argue with NASDAQ trader about who is more socially inept and awkward and understands each other the least. Yeah. And meanwhile, and you're listening to that instead of having cake? What? Oh, you're talking about the people at the conference. Yes. No, Collins is a woman. No, I think Collins is a woman, isn't she? Yep. In fact, where is it? I did assume the agenda. Because not only is Susan a woman, but Susan is a black woman. There you go. And there's a picture of her. Collins is the most black man name ever in my dictionary. At least I got the end. This is the thing. So I tell you what, guys. I haven't quite done this, but we probably should. We should probably have the name of every. Okay, we're gonna do this. Like, how would we do this? We should have like a contest of some sort where like you have to match the name up with the picture. You know what I'm saying? Or it could just be like totally fill in the blank. Could be like, we'll have pictures over here, and then we'll have places. We'll have a place for every one of the regional bank presidents, and then, of course, the Federal Reserve president, and the what is it, 8 seats that are appointed by the president. Okay, and then you'll have to match the picture up into the spot and know their name, and it's going to be fill in the blank with the name. You won't be given the names. You'll have to fill in the blank. That should be the test. Okay, I asked the question and I ignored it. Oh, did I? I probably just forgot. Are event contracts for or against? So I'm not so hot on event contracts, to be honest with you. So what has been happening in the market over the last few months is that these short dated options have started to get really popular for some reason, right? Like these options that like come out every day and expire at the end of the day, sort of a thing on the CBOE. So I think that what's happening is the CME is seeing that and is like, oh yeah, well, if that's popular, like we got to get in on that. And so they made the event contracts. In terms of like a really useful instrument that we can utilize in our strategies and make money from and all of this sort of a thing, I'm super skeptical. Here's what I really think. I shouldn't say this, but here's what I really think. I think that the CME likes money, and that the CME will put any kind of product up there on the exchange that they think will make them money. And I think that the person that wins the most from event contracts is the CME who makes the money in the commissions. That's what I think. And I'm sure that somebody could come in and find some inefficiencies in how that market works and make money from it. But that's what I think. Nasdaq killer. I am perfectly socially charismatic person. I do have high functioning autism-like traits because I can stay alone in a room working for months with no human contacts whatsoever. But because I'm scared of people, but because I don't care about them and what they think or have to say. Yeah, that's me too. I don't. Well, I do care. I'm actually, that's not the case for me. I care very deeply about people and what they have to say, but never in the moment. It's like, I want to care about them, but then after the fact, I was like, oh, I could have done this and this for them, and I didn't. And always regret after the fact. Think we got a quick short on ZN? No. I think there might have been an opportunity there to pull out a tick or two by fading Cullen's comments, but other than that, I'm not so sure that. I'm not convinced that the treasuries are going to do anything. Like if we were doing event contracts and I had to bet on the closing price of ZN today, I would have to say 112.15. Right? I don't know if it's ever going to move. I think we had a good so today in the end today was probably the second best that we could have done with it. I think that we should have been able to have pulled 10 or 20 ticks out of it, right, and taken the quick profit. But I think that what happened here today was we were on the right side of it, but that the overall investment thesis just didn't come and it was a wash. And so, yeah, you should just break even. And then it doesn't do anything. I think it's below above a certain price, not the exact price. That's true. That's true. I think that we're going to close pretty close around 112.15 today, probably. Unless the options gamma melt up is still lurking out there and it's just going to happen after I'm done trading. And whoever is the market maker from JP Morgan that hates me, and as they watched the stream and they said, oh, well, Seth was on top of this one, so we have to make sure that it happens after he's gone. That's what happens. You know. When you see an event where you get a single print on the SPY like an entire dollar or more away from current price, does that really mean someone swept the whole market depth book? It could be, yeah. So, I think that to really know for sure, you have to go in and like look at the individual market orders that hit it, you know, because you should see them like literally milliseconds apart, right? But if you see a bunch of prints in ES where they're all on the bid side and there's absolutely nothing on the offer side and it just goes all at once, it probably is somebody just decided to come in and buy 4 ticks worth of it. I have a theory about this. My theory is that those are algorithms taking profits, that they've already made enough of a profit that they're like, oh, okay, well, I mean, if I have to do it over an average of 4 prices, that's fine. They have the liquidity for me to make money. So that's my theory. But, you know, any individual one, who knows? Who knows what's going on? So anyways, so I was saying a contest. So the question is, we need an application that would allow us to do this and do it as like a test and make sure that you guys can't cheat somehow. Right? Like maybe we could do it as like a Jeopardy session, you know, like maybe if we were at a trader conference and we could have a trader knowledge session, you know, and one round of the Jeopardy could be Federal Reserve members. And it would show the picture and then you would have to name them. Sounds fun. You know what I kind of want to do is like, I've been doing this whole thing with Series 65. I took the green light test. So I think it's supposed to be like you take the green light test, and if you're successful, then you're okay to take the test. And I passed it with actually, it was actually one of my better scores. It was not quite 80%, but it was up there. I would really like to pass this test with like a 90% or something, but I don't know if that's actually realistic, because they're so tricky with some of their questions, man. And when I took that, there were so many questions in there. I was like, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to fool me. Like if you know that piece of material really, 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 really well, then you'll catch it. Because what they constantly try and do in that freaking test, it pisses me off, is they'll basically suggest that there's a subject that you missed. And so all of the answers will kind of be around this kind of subject that doesn't actually exist, right? And then there will be one answer that is the correct answer that's actually about a subject, you know, it has the keywords in it and everything, but there will be something about the way that they say it that makes you think that that can't be right. And they try and trick you like that. So I wonder, you know, if we got all of the financial influencers in a room and we, you know, we had them do a contest where we asked them these multiple choice questions, or we did like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire sort of style with it, right? Like how well some of these finance influencers would do, because I think that most of the people that are like doing finance influencing on YouTube would not get these questions correct. Mostly because their focus is on different sorts of things. Do you use memory programs like Anki or SuperMemo for communicating? No, I haven't. You know what I've been doing is I've just been writing them in my notebook and then trying to remember them. And usually I find that if I write it in my notebook, I remember it pretty well. This notebook has gotten pretty... Some of these pages, not all of them, but some of these pages are pretty full. Especially like these ones that have notes from like... some of these was when I took notes for when we were doing like CME, and these were notes from like when I'm reading a book. A lot of the time when I'm reading a book, I will take notes like that. Because basically what I find is that I have to be doing something somewhat interactive in order to maintain focus. So like I'm not very good at just sitting and listening to a conference, you know? Like if I was at a conference, I'm sure like I can imagine there's some sort of day trading expo, and so they're having all of these speeches and stuff, and I would probably fall asleep in every single freaking one. Right. So if I really care, or I really want to look good, then I take meticulous notes about everything that everybody's saying, and that keeps me awake. I do think one of the problems I think I've had in studying for this test is that I've only been doing most of it on the weekend lately. And so I think that that's been leading to some problems in me retaining memory. So like the sort of things that they'll get is like, okay, if you are an agent for a bank, what are the situations where you can borrow money from a client? And basically the gist of it is your broker dealer, the broker dealer you work for, has to have a policy about it, and they have to be like family or a loan that would be taking place within the regular business that you would regularly do anyways. So it's kind of incidental to the thing, right? But yeah, like you have to memorize those sorts of things, and there's so many. There's just so many. Seth, are you aware that your ES ladder is 1 point increments and not 25? Yes. Isn't it amazing? You don't think that that's wonderful live action? So somebody came in the other day, was like, how did you do that? How did you, they were... I had one person that they asked the question and like, I just didn't understand what they were even freaking talking about. There was another person that was like, how did you do that? It's a beta feature of Jigsaw, and it's freaking awesome. I love it. It's so much easier for me to see what the S&P 500 is doing. I mean, if I was like actively scalping ES or NQ, then I think I might want to see every tick, but especially with the way that this goes. You ever got 20 ticks in ZN? How did you manage that? You caught it both ways? Oh, this is impressive. I do kind of wonder if we come back over here to these charts in the 10-year when we had this spike up. So I was sitting here and I was like, okay, yeah, let's see if it goes further. Here it was like $10, $15. So I think I could have taken 15 here. But, you know, I thought oh, there's a good chance that there's another push up. And then you had this. But by the time this happened, it was too late. You'd have to be super fast to get that one. And I do kind of feel like that it sneaked in out of nowhere. So I'm not quite sure how you could have caught both this and this. I think that there's a lot of noise. I don't know. But that's kind of the issue, is that the way that we trade, that might be a problem. Because we're going to think, I got the thing, it's going to go, and then it's going to go, and it's going to come right back. Right? It's going to be so much more rangy that if you're the one that's like baiting the edges every time, that might actually work really, really well for you. At least until like some explosion in volatility happens. Because what I'm afraid of is like it moves into this low volatility regime for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then December comes along and something in the FOMC or some data point comes in, and like the rest of the month is chaos. And or retail sales for Christmas are terrible. More compression, yeah. Like it really is, we're getting to the point where it's like if you come in and you just catch 4 ticks on ZN, that's not bad. And that's traditional ZN, right? We're still getting these occasional like sweeps where it goes really far, but volatility is contracting, for sure. Oh my gosh, so I've been seeing more stuff about Sam Bankman-Fried, and I still do believe that he was like a normal guy, okay? But he was not a normal guy by the end. That's the thing. I think that he started out as a normal guy, but like one thing leads to another, and like this is what you lead. Like I look at that and I'm like, oh, I could have gotten involved in cryptocurrency really early on, and like done really well with that and made a ton of money. And then I look at that and I'm like, yeah, and I'd be a total dick. And I'm glad that didn't happen. Because I feel like that to be involved in cryptocurrency at a certain level, at that level, you basically have to take this approach that's like, all that matters is I'm making money, and it doesn't matter who I'm screwing over in the process. Like from futures, I can deal with that, because yeah, when I'm making money, it's at somebody else's expense. But it's not because I did something, anything. I'm just going along with the market, and it's just the way that it plays out. And everybody that's playing this game knows what they're doing, and well, they should know what they're doing, and that's just the game. But in cryptocurrency, it's like you're actively suckering everybody into investing in something that isn't backed, and you know it. Yeah, we're talking about the FTX guy. So I feel like he probably started out as a regular guy. And I think I still think that that's why they fell. It's because that's the tendency for people. But by the end of it, he's not a normal guy. He's a very, practically a psychopath when you get out. His girlfriend, dude, I don't know what the deal is with that one. It's just like, I probably shouldn't touch that one, so I won't. There's the funny thing is, like, all of the comments and that they were like the texts that they were sending each other, and like Man. All of the memes about it are just crazy. You know, it is kind of like the what was Craggle Pop or whatever. You remember that thing where the people that ended up, you know, having pulled off this really big cryptocurrency heist? She was like she was a wannabe rapper, and they had even made like really well produced like rap videos that just made absolutely no sense. Oh my gosh. She ratted on him as his new girlfriend is I haven't even been keeping up on it all. I basically, you notice I do this. It's probably to my detriment, right? Because I could probably create all of this content just talking about it and laughing about how ridiculous this whole situation is, right? I think part of it is that when I've tried jumping on something that gets that big, it usually doesn't do anything. Like, for instance, I made a video about the GameStop thing. I felt that I had some very valuable information in there that would really help some people that had maybe gotten caught up in that hype get a more realistic understanding of the market that could help them out. But that video is just a total dud. It was just a total dud. Nobody watched it. Right? So I find that when something gets too popular, that it doesn't really help me to get involved in it. But the other thing is that I just hate how social media kind of encourages you to chase that hype. And I just don't like doing it. I don't want to be involved in it. I feel like it cheapens my content. You know what I mean? So what will happen is I'll be all over a subject, and then when it gets popular and I could probably be getting tons of views from it, I don't care anymore, and I leave. You know? You don't need to be informational all the time. Just make shorts chit-chatting about FTX guy with an insight. At the end, it has to be a funny reaction. Yeah. I do think that I need to try and be more fun. I mean, there was a period where I think I was having a lot of fun and way too much fun with the stock market Steve thing. Oh my gosh. Like, I look back at stock market Steve, because my whole like what I was trying to do there is like every time that I saw a move and I was like, you don't want to get in on this. Like, you should probably fade this move, right? So basically, I tried to make stock market Steve make the wrong call every single time. And you know what? I did a effing awesome job at it. If you had faded Steve, you would have made serious bank. So I don't know. Maybe that's the way that I should go. But Steve never really took off. I thought it was hilarious, but TikTok just, here was the other problem with Steve though, is that like the market was really like, it's so zany, and there was so much bullshit going on that people couldn't tell it was a parody. I think that people that were coming in on TikTok and, they saw the first 5 seconds of it, they didn't realize it was parody. And they thought it was serious, and so they moved on. Like, so I think that's why Steve didn't do very well. Seeing the dollar come back really hard here now. But like, look, the treasuries haven't moved much at all. The 6J hasn't moved much at all. Live stream reaction shorts are the bomb right now. Yeah, it was so good of a parody that you basically compete with thousands of bad advice guys and it didn't set you apart. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Why isn't he in the USA yet with FBI? I don't know. I think that the extradition process just takes a little while. So my understanding is that the guys in New York, like the attorney general and stuff, are preparing charges for him. So he is going to get charged. So good. And you know what else? Oh my gosh. You want to know one that pisses me off? Here's another thing I feel like is that I'm always kind of being kind of like wishy-washy on things because you know what's going to happen. I want to give you guys the most realistic view of what the market's going to be, and then you know a lot of the edges and nuance, and so I try to be nuanced with you guys, but people also like, you know, people coming in and making definitive statements, and sometimes when I feel really strongly about something, I kind of feel like, oh, it's not relevant enough, or I don't know if I really want to put my neck out on this one. Okay, but this one I'm willing to put my neck out on this. Okay, Elizabeth Holmes, that shitbag, oh my gosh, she's getting sentenced, and I think that the sentence was going to be like 10 or 20 years, and they were asking for leniency, and Cory Booker wrote to the judge and said that she should get leniency. So all of this crap that she did, like, because they played the Democrats. I'm telling you what, man, if you're a psychopath, right, and you're trying to help your business chances, it is totally the thing to contribute to Democrats, man. Maybe that's going on the Republican side, and I'm just not seeing it yet. But you definitely works on the Democrats, man. Just tell them all the things that they want to hear. Say that you're totally in, you know, we need to stop climate change. We need to, we need social justice. We need all of these, you know, we need to have better equity in the world and all of this sort of stuff, and contribute to all the Democrat politicians. And they just do what you want, to the point that you can literally be completely exposed as a complete crock. Everything that she ever did was complete and absolute bullshit. You didn't know a thing that you were doing. All of the progress and the great things that you supposedly did was 100% a scam, to the point that people literally died because of what you did, right? Because Elizabeth Holmes, man, they said that they had a blood test. People went and got these blood tests, thought that everything was fine, and it turned out that they actually had cancer, and they found out about it too late because of that stupid device that didn't work, right? So literally people have died about it, and yet Cory Booker is still willing to put his neck out and say that they should be lenient. Are you flipping kidding me, man? That pisses me off. I hope she rots in jail. 20 years isn't long enough. What did Elizabeth Olsen do? No, Holmes, right? The girl that dresses like Steve Jobs, right? Man, there is something about that freaking face. It is just, it's creepy to me. It's just a little creepy to me. Like, is there like a psychopath face? I when I saw this, like, I did a bunch of searching, and I didn't really, I mean, there was some speculation on it around on the internet. People were definitely seeing the same thing that I was doing and was talking about it, but I never really got a definitive answer that, like, you know, there's a psychopath face, and that's why she's got just these like empty eyes. It's like she's looking at you, but she's not looking at you, you know? Is Johnny Depp's wife's sister? No, what? I think she was smart by intentionally getting pregnant to garner sympathy. She should rot in jail. So you have to cut this into a commentary and make a YouTube short. Yeah, maybe. Well, you know, I try and save up what we make for the stream, and we've gotten to the point. I did get a new hard drive, which turned out we really needed. So that was good. But like, I have a big long list of stuff to get. And one of the things is that if I had a video card that had the separate encoder on the chip, you know, then I could probably like, and that along with the hard drive, then I could probably like record all of the live streams on my disc and have better quality video, you know, and be able to, because it's both streaming it and recording it at the same time is a little bit more extra resources. So if I got another video card, I could probably do more of that. But then the issue is that you still have to edit it up, and I just don't have enough time nor care most of the time to do it. And the other issue is that oftentimes trying to cut up what I'm saying here on stream for at TikTok is a little bit harder, because here, if I have pauses and I kind of have to search for words and stuff like that, like, you're okay, because it's like we're having a conversation. But on TikTok, that stuff just kills your engagement, right? But I wish I could just pay somebody to do it. So looking, Matt doesn't put, I wonder if he changed it. Do you think he's changed it? Matt has a video editor now. So instead of leaving the streams up, oh, look, see, here he is. So instead of leaving the live streams up, they just consolidate it into a 5-minute video. See? So there's a 5-minute video. Here's his like daily, and they make a separate thumbnail for every single one of them too. I don't know if that's worth the effort for like 5K views per video. Maybe it is. I don't know. But he doesn't show the live stream anymore. He doesn't show the live stream anymore. That's not cool to me. Trades by Matt. He's got 120K subscribers. Can you believe that like 2 years ago, he basically had as many subscribers as the channel has right now? Crazy. Like, I always look at that and I'm like, well, there is this chance that the YouTube channel could like really, really blow up, and that would expand a lot of opportunities for us. But I think there's some key differences between how he runs his stream and does things and how we run our stream and do things that maybe makes it so that we're probably not going to get 120,000 subscribers. Could be wrong, but it just really rubs me the wrong way that you can't see the live streams anymore. So if you go in and like you watch his video and you save the URL, then, because I don't think that he deletes them, they just get unlisted. So if you have the URL, you should still be able to see them, but he does not allow you to see the videos. He unlists them all. See, look, if you come to my channel, so if you come to my YouTube channel, I really like this new YouTube setup that they've got. So when you come to my channel, like, look, if I go to videos, you don't see the live streams. You just see my videos, which is great. That's what we want, right? But then when you go to live, you see all of the live streams, right? You see on his, the live tab just doesn't come up because it says, oh, he doesn't have any public live streams. So we won't make that tab for him. It's kind of shady, don't you think? Am I making too big of a deal out of that? Is that live tab new? Yeah, they changed it like 2 weeks ago. So it was funny when it happened, because what I was doing is I have a playlist. So that's the other thing, is like, oh, okay, so here's playlists. But look, he doesn't have a playlist for past live streams. So like, I feel like he kind of made me a liar, because there was a thread on Futures.io where somebody was complaining that like when he does poorly, he hides it. And I was like, well, no, like the live streams are still there. They get unlisted and put in a playlist. And he had a playlist, and I linked to the playlist, and I linked to the video of the day that the guy was talking about and all that sort of stuff, right? And then when he got the video editor, he got rid of the playlist, and he just only does the synopsis. So you can't see the full live stream anymore. I feel like he made a liar. So maybe it's not maybe people don't see it as big of a deal as I do, but to me, I think it's kind of shady. I think that if you're going to come in here and your thing is going to be live streaming, that people should be able to go back and watch every single moment if they wanted to. That's what I think. And that's what you can do with me. Every stupid thing I've done, every stupid thing I've said, but also every amazing trade that I've made and every crazy market action that's ever happened during the time that we stream for the last 5 years is on there. And you could basically spend the rest of your life watching them all if you really wanted to. And if I died, my kids would be able to come in and watch me every day. Right? That would be a project. Every morning, watch all of Dad's live stream for 5 years. That'd be something. People are getting strikes for past live streams if company finds some copyright content or someone tries to cancel you. So I think that the unlisting the live streams really started because it clutters up your channel page. I think that that's where that really started. And this change in YouTube only happened like 2 weeks ago. So not every creator is up on it and realizes it. I do think that it could be a thing, like if somebody wanted to cancel you, I guess they could go up and watch all of your past live streams and try and find you saying something during the COVID pandemic or something that was inappropriate or something. But I don't think I've ever, I stand by everything that I've said. Of course, you make mistakes and stuff, and sometimes the world changes, but somebody wants to argue about something that I said in the past, I say, bring it on. And as for the copyright content, that YouTube will like detect the copyright content like that day. So that wouldn't really make sense as a reason to unlist it. And it even has tools for you to come in and like mute that portion of the video or whatever the deal is. So but at the same time, wouldn't surprise me to see someone like Dr. Disrespect just never turn on the point to where you can watch past live streams. I think the thing is that you do get views after the fact. People will come in and watch it. Like people will come in and say, oh, I didn't see what Seth did today. I want to come in and see what he did. And they'll just kind of like, click through the video and look and see what he did. That does happen. So it gets a few views, but overall it doesn't get a ton. So I think that the thing is that YouTube wants people to watch as long as possible. It's weird. So like this video that I made last week, I think was not a very engaging video, right? It was me going through the settings. So if you just started Jigsaw and you want to know what the settings that you want to use and how you might want to set up your NinjaTrader 8 charts, then you're going to sit and you're going to watch that whole video, right? But most of you guys, you're probably going to see that and you're like, well, I already know all this stuff. You didn't watch it, right? But because the average view time ends up being 2 minutes longer, then YouTube pushes the video. So I was like, maybe I need to try and make longer videos again. Maybe. Waking up with dad playlist. Hopefully I never die. Hopefully I never die. But if I die, if I die, Asher and Ethan, if you're watching this and I'm dead in the future, oh did my camera just die? Yeah, my camera's gonna die here. I think that I've been using, like, burning the battery out every day so much that my camera battery is probably starting to get weak. Maybe I need to switch to a battery, a different type of thing. Anyways, Ethan, Azure, if you're listening, everything that you need here is on this stream, and I thoroughly expect you to go and do block trading for Goldman Sachs or become asset managers of some sort. You have everything that you need. Just watch all of these streams. You'll have tons of experience. You have a big leg up on your competition, okay? So you do it. Uh-oh, do they need me to pop in? I was going over because, it's Friday and I don't have to come in. No, they're just doing something else. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in the rain, time to die. It's really curious to me that people will... So should we come in and check? And then let's stop the stream. Because I need to go and take tests and stuff. Yeah, I know it's from Blade Runner. Dude, the newer Blade Runner movie, like, it did not do very well, but I thought it was dope AF. I thought it was dope AF. It was really good, I thought. So if I come over into this thing where it shows me just like what videos have been viewed in the past little while. Okay, so this TikTok has been picking up a little bit more. That's good, because I feel like that YouTube doesn't really push my TikToks. It kind of drives me crazy. Like, if I make a TikTok now, usually gets about 1,000 views now. It didn't start out that way, but I think it eventually found my audience and I get about 1,000 people, and that's good. My wife she made a video with my dog. This is so funny. She made a video with the dog and put it on YouTube, and they gave her $1. I'm like, well, hey, that's 30 cents per 1,000 views. Like, if you were just able to come in and get 1,000 views per day, like, that scales up real quick. It scales up real quick. Right? You could live off of that. I digress. But on YouTube, my videos only get a few hundred views. So I guess I need to just keep doing it and do it more regularly. Maybe I need to make a YouTube short every day. Make a YouTube short every day. Maybe I really do need to come in and just edit videos and turn them into shorts. Anyways, and this trading computer hardware one, that's always the best performing video. It has been for a long time. This one, order flow and DOM trading for beginners. I am so happy that this is the one that's getting the second most views now. It did not start out that way. In fact, can I open it in like a new tab? No, it's not gonna do it in a new tab. But like, it's just like, look, the trajectory is like a curve. That's really good. That's what you want to see, right? So anyways, these are all regular videos. Oh, I guess, oh, okay. So for instance, here was the 11th. So in the last 24 hours, 5 people have gone back and watched what I did last Thursday, was it? No, last Friday. I think that day wasn't good for me. So yeah. Maybe they're going back and watching my lasses. Actually, if I could come in here, where was it? I didn't even know what to name it. No, I don't think I actually took any trades that day. Reach. Where did they come in? Where are they coming from? External. Feedly. Feedly. Okay. Well. In Google search, that's really weird. I don't know. I've kind of gotten to the point. I feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have a really good channel. I'm really proud of it. And sometimes I'm not really sure where I want to take it next. I think that my next video is going to be Ninja Trader tips. I also need to finish that strategy PDF. I haven't really had time to work on it lately. But the really key educational content is there, and it's putting people into the pipeline the way that it should. This one right here, this short still does well, which is interesting to me. That was like the first one I posted. I have a whole list of videos I have. It's just that there's not one that's like at the top of my mind. I'm like, oh, I really want to do this one. This is next, etc., etc. I have to go back and look at the list. Anyways, it's time to get going, guys. I've gone over. So I will see you guys on Monday. Next week, we got the holiday, right? So it'll just be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We might see some crazy stuff. So let's see. But I'm probably going to be a little bit more cautious next week. I was looking to play it today because of the options expiration, but it didn't work out in the treasuries at least. So next week, that doesn't mean we won't take trades next week, but I might only be looking for little trades, right? So until then, stay excellent, team.